Dear students, we were discussing with Chapter 1, Protectors of Biosphere. Today, we shall discuss on the topics, the chemistry of photosynthesis and also about the chemical changes in glucose after photosynthesis. So, what is photosynthesis? The process by which the plants prepare their own food by using sunlight, carbon dioxide, water, etc. And in last class, we already studied that photosynthesis takes place in chloroplast. So, photosynthesis takes place in chloroplast. Then, photosynthesis takes place by two phases, or photosynthesis have two phases, a light phase and a dark phase. So, this light phase takes place in grana of the chloroplast and dark phase takes place in stroma of chloroplast. And what is grana? We already studied it last class. What is grana? Grana is the pack of membranous sacs. And what is stroma? Stroma is the fluid part of chloroplast. So in photosynthesis, there are two phases, a light phase and a dark phase. Light phase takes place in grana and dark phase takes place in stroma. Now let us discuss what all changes happens in light phase and in dark phase. So we already know light phase takes place in grana and dark phase takes place in stroma. Then light phase takes place first and after that dark phase occur. Then in light phase, from the name itself we can understand that light is required or sunlight is required. Then what is the other change happens during light phase? Yes, the water splits into hydrogen and oxygen. Then at that time itself, hydrogen moves to stroma. Then the other change happens in light phase is that ATP is produced. How the ATP is produced? The light energy or the energy from sunlight is converted into chemical energy and it is stored in the form of ATP. Now, by occurring all these three steps, light phase is already completed. Then the next phase is dark phase. In dark phase, light is not required. From the name itself, we can understand that in dark phase, light is not required. Then what all changes are happening in dark phase? We already said that hydrogen moves from the grana to stroma in the second step. So now the hydrogen is there in the stroma. Then this hydrogen combines with carbon dioxide with the help of ATP or the energy stored in the form of ATP. So with the help of ATP, hydrogen combines with carbon dioxide and glucose is produced. So by this step, the entire process is completed. Now let us complete table 1.1 which was given in your textbook. So here are the indicators. Based on these indicators, you have to complete the column of light phase and dark phase. So the first indicator is location. Then where is the location of light phase? Yes, it is grana and the location of dark phase is stroma. Now the second one is action. Action in light phase is water splits into hydrogen and oxygen. Then any other? Yes, the light energy is converted into chemical energy. Then in dark phase, what all actions are happening there? Yes, the hydrogen combines with carbon dioxide to form glucose. So these are the actions that takes place in light phase and in dark phase. Now products. What all products are formed in light phase? In light phase, oxygen is formed, hydrogen is formed and ATP is also formed. Then in dark phase, what are the products that form? Yes, only glucose. Then the next one, necessity of light. Whether light is required for light phase? Yes, light is required. But in dark phase, light is not required. Then about ATP. In light phase, ATP is produced and in dark phase, ATP is utilized. Children, now you came to know about a new term, that is ATP, adenosine triphosphate. This ATP is known as energy currencies of cells. Why? We know that continuous metabolic activities are taking place in our cells. So, the cells require continuous transfer of energy. This ATP or adenosine triphosphate provides continuous transfer of energy to cells for carrying out various metabolic activities. So this is the reason why ATP is known as energy currencies of cells. So now we understood all the details about light phase and dark phase and also the entire process of photosynthesis. So the cyclic chemical reactions of dark phase was discovered by a scientist named Melvin Calvin. So later this dark phase is came to know as Calvin cycle. And in 1961, Melvin Calvin, the scientist, got a Nobel Prize for his discovery about the dark phase. Now we shall try to write the chemical formula of the entire chemical reactions in photosynthesis. So while writing a chemical formula, normally in this part we will write about the reactions and here about the products. So what all reactions are taking place is carbon dioxide combines with water in the presence of sunlight and chlorophyll. We know that glucose is produced. This is the product. Then oxygen is also produced. So glucose and oxygen are the products. Children, now look at this picture. Here you can see Beena's doubt. What is her doubt? Yes, if plants produce only glucose, then how could we get starch, protein, fat, etc. from vegetable food items? Do you have the same doubt? Actually, how could we get all these items? Let us find out. So we already studied that as a result of photosynthesis, plants produce glucose. But this glucose is soluble in water, so that the plants cannot store glucose in its body. This is the reason why plants convert this glucose into starch. And then plants use this starch for their life activities and also for growth. And later, this starch is again converted into sucrose. And this sucrose is transported to different parts of the plant body through phloem. And it is stored in different parts of plant body. Now let us see. In tubers, the glucose is stored in the form of starch. And in legumes, the glucose is stored in the form of protein. But in oil seeds, the glucose is stored in the form of fat. And in fruits, glucose is stored in the form of fructose. And then in sugarcane, it is stored in the form of sucrose. So I think now you understood how the various type of nutrients required for the growth of animals are obtained from plants. So today we discussed on the topics chemistry behind photosynthesis, and in that we discussed about light phase, dark phase, and also we have studied how to write the chemical formula of photosynthesis, and then we discussed about the chemical changes that takes place in glucose.